Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a man who knows absolutely nothing about anything, talk about something. And today I am going to be talking about the one, the only Marcus Rashford. My first question is anyone else a little bit concerned about Marcus Rashford? Because it feels like yesterday that we saw a young Marcus Rashford score a brace on his debut against Arsenal. The reality is that that was 8 years ago. And to be fair, since Marcus Rashford scored 2 goals in his debut, he's had a very decent career for Manchester United. He scored 132 goals in 399 games, which is, to get to basically 400 games for Manchester United, is a massive achievement in itself. And like this video, I'm not trying to take away from the achievements that Marcus Rashford has already gained in his career. In that 8 years, he's also won 2 League Cups, he's won an FA Cup, he's won a Europa League, he's finished second in the Premier League. However, Marcus Rashford seems to be his own worst enemy. As I'm sure you've heard, last week he made headlines for calling in sick to training at Manchester United and subsequently was dropped from the United squad. The story then broke that Marcus Rashford had been in Dublin before he called in sick to Manchester United, and then it turns out, I think it was the Sun, got hold of a girl who was with Rashford and his entourage, and she basically said, yeah, he was out getting absolutely shit-faced. And then obviously everyone connected the dots to why he called in sick, because he'd been out in Dublin and he got a private jet home early the next morning, and he was too hungover to train, basically. Of course, the media have had an absolute frenzy with this. Rashford has made all sorts of headlines, and there's people, fans, pundits, just questioning his discipline and questioning his commitment to Manchester United, especially during a time when Man United have obviously been struggling quite a lot. Okay, so any player that, you know, goes out drinking then doesn't show up to training the next day because of the drinking, it is open to criticism. Manchester United have struggled an awful lot this season, and for one of their key players to be partaking in behaviour which will hinder the progress of the club this season is both disrespectful to the fans and obviously disrespectful to the club and the staff and everybody associated with Manchester United, because it's just like, you know, you're our guy, well, not our guy, but you're one of the guys that we expect to get us through this tumultuous period, and yet you're out getting drunk. Like, are you actually taking the season seriously? Are you taking the worries of the fans seriously? Have you read or seen anything about Man United and how much criticism they've come under already this season? So you going out and getting shit-faced is not going to help. The incident itself, it is what it is though. Like, ultimately we can sit here and, as I just said, criticise Marcus Rashford for doing what he did. Also, there is something to be said in the fact that he's 26, he's a multi-millionaire, he just wanted to go out and have fun. It's just that he probably forgot that in this day and age, and everyone's on social media, everyone's got phones. If anybody gets, even hears a whisper about you going out and getting drunk, it's going to spread like wildfire, and that's what's happened here. But my question is, in all of this, how long will Marcus Rashford actually stay at Manchester United? Everyone loves this narrative that Marcus Rashford is Mr. Inconsistent and that he's a purple patch player. In fairness, his stats do play into this narrative, and so he's been at United for 8 seasons, and just look at, for example, the last 4 seasons he's had. 2023-24, he scored 4 goals so far. Last season, he scored 30 goals in 56 games. Season before that, he played 32 times and scored 5 goals, and the season before that, he played 57 games and scored 21 goals. So it's kind of like hot, cold, hot, cold. If he has a really good season, it seems to be that the next season he won't score many. However, I want to make this point, right, that Manchester United, since Marcus Rashford has come through the youth academy, have been an incredibly inconsistent club. Marcus Rashford has played under Louis van Gaal, he's played under Jose Mourinho, he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's played under Ralf Rangnick, and then he's now playing under Erik ten Hag. Argument can be made that the best players play well under any manager. If you're a world-class player, it doesn't matter if you've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Jose Mourinho managing you, you will show up and you will perform. However, there is also something to be said in the fact that Rashford hasn't just been thrown into this chaos, he's literally had to develop and grow up in the chaos. He got promoted to the United first team when he was, 16, in 2016, and since then it's been different players, different fucking managers, different CEOs. The fans are slowly losing their patience with the current manager they've got, and it's fair to say that in the time Rashford has been playing for United, the only really consistent period they've had was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he managed 2.5 seasons, and what a coincidence, Marcus Rashford's 2 most consistent seasons of his career was the 2019-20 and 2021 seasons, in which he scored 21 goals and 22 goals. And guess what? They were when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was manager. So the consistency he's shown has been under one manager. But again, it's just been Jose's in, then all of a sudden he's sacked and the club's in crisis, and then fucking Michael Carrick has to take over for a little bit, and then obviously he has to move on, and Ten Hag comes in, and then it feels for me that Man United has been so chaotic. Rashford, you can't blame him for being inconsistent because he's never had consistency around him. You know what I mean? You adapt to your environment almost, especially football players. But Marcus Rashford has always had his environment constantly being changed. Think about what Rashford would be like if he'd come through the Man City academy and had played under Pep, or if he'd come through the Liverpool academy and played under Klopp. And look what both those managers have done with Phil Foden and Trent Alexander-Arnold. They have both been incredibly consistent, incredibly talented and good footballers, you know. And I think that at the end of the season, Marcus Rashford would be well within his right to take a look at what's going on and think, do I fucking want this, realistically? Do I want to continue to be a part of, as much as I'm sure he loves Manchester United, you know, he's a Manchester boy, does he want to stay at a club that is realistically probably going to carry on with these sackings and, again, this inconsistency and this like, oh, we've just got a new CEO in and we've just got Jim Ratcliffe in, and then just more inconsistency and more chaos. And I think that Marcus Rashford would benefit so much from just playing in a club where it's just some order, less chaos, more consistency. I don't know which club that will be. It could be Bayern Munich, it could be Real Madrid. Obviously it's not going to be another club in England. I think Rashford loves United too much to go to. The only other options are City, Chelsea or Liverpool. He's not going to go to Chelsea because they're fucking worse than United, and City and Liverpool are two bigger rivals for him to go to. So I don't know which club that is exactly that Rashford could go to, but there are plenty of options for him. Along with that, as I mentioned, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has just become a shareholder at Manchester United, and he's expected to start changing things a lot, and it would be a fair kind of move from him to say, like, look, Rashford is the face of what has been the most chaotic period in United history, and we want to kind of get rid of that image, and getting rid of Rashford might help us to show the fans that we're changing the club and we're changing the culture. And there are also massive financial benefits to it. Marcus Rashford is very much a young, well, he's 26, but yeah, he's going to be potentially worth north of £100 million. You could probably maybe get some clubs to play that much, so massive financial benefits to selling Rashford, along with the fact that they're going to make a loss on the likes of Antony. It looks like they're going to sell Wan-Bissaka back to Crystal Palace as well. Casemiro and Varane apparently both linked with Saudi clubs, so there's a lot of losses that are being made. So to tell Rashford for 100 million clean profit, you know, they're not going to fucking turn their noses up at it, are they? And also Marcus Rashford may very well be looking at the likes of Jude Bellingham, at the likes of Harry Kane, and seeing them leave England for Europe and having great results because of that. You know, Kane and Bellingham now both challenging for league titles consistently, both challenging for Champions League titles. So maybe he wants to go and move to, for example, a Bayern Munich, where it's just consistency every year, Champions League every year, challenging for a league title every year. So it makes a lot of sense if you were to move abroad. And also, you've got to remember that England, this is one of the most talented England squads we've ever seen. Rashford is at the moment in danger of jeopardising his ticket to the Euros in Germany in 2024, and after that we've got a World Cup, and obviously, like, you know, a football career is short, and Rashford wants to make the most of being part of this talented England squad, and he doesn't want to potentially jeopardise that by staying at Manchester United. If he moves to Bayern Munich, if he moves to Real Madrid, if he moves to fucking, I don't know, an Italian team or PSG, or basically anywhere that isn't Man United, that won't hurt his chances of having more time in the England squad. And I also think that Marcus Rashford, like I said, people like to class him as this purple patch player, but I think that given the right coaching, he can be a world-class player. I believe Marcus Rashford has a world-class player in there, but unfortunately he hasn't had a chance to play under a world-class coach. Let's just look at the facts. Don't shoot me, United fans. I think Ten Hag's massively overrated, and I personally think that United and Rashford could do better than him. So if Rashford goes over to a club maybe like Madrid, where they have Carlo Ancelotti, who is an elite manager, who has a history of winning Champions Leagues and developing young players. Look what he's done with Rodrigo and Vinicius whilst they're there. If you put Rashford into a club which has a world-class manager at the helm, I think they can get the best out of Rashford, and I think we could see a world-class player there. But I think as long as he stays at Man United, he will never ever reach or fulfil his potential, which is why I'm saying I think time's up. I think Marcus Rashford's done at Man United. I really think he'll look at his options at the end of the season, and I think that there are other clubs in Europe that can offer him more trophies, more consistency, which is what he needs at his age. With his sort of background of being inconsistent, he needs to go and learn how to be consistent under a consistent manager with a consistent club and a consistent trophy challenge within them. So I might be wrong, obviously, that's opinions are opinions, but just let me know what you think, guys. Do you think Rashford should stay at United? Do you think United want him to stay, or do you think that maybe it suits both parties if Rashford goes? You tell me. But yeah, anyway, I will be making a few more videos later on this week, and I hope you have a good week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.